Everyone's reading the same bestsellers. Meanwhile, these 5 books are quietly changing lives and almost nobody's talking about them. I'm Adam Prockstem Smith, and today we're diving into 5 books that operate on a completely different level. These aren't your typical self-help books that go viral on social media. These are the books that researchers cite, that systems thinkers reference, and that genuinely change how you understand reality itself. No fluff, no personal anecdotes, just pure research, facts, and actionable insights from 5 brilliant minds who've cracked codes that most people don't even know exist. Let's get into it. Book number 1, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Here's a statistic that will blow your mind. According to a study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology, it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit. The range varied from 18 to 254 days depending on the complexity of the habit. James Clear didn't just write another motivation book. He synthesized decades of behavioral psychology research into a practical framework. And the core principle is devastatingly simple. Improve just by 1% each day, and you'll be 37 times better after 1 year. That's not motivational math, that's compound interest applied to human behavior. The research behind this is solid. A study from Duke University found that 40% of our daily actions aren't actual decisions. We're running on autopilot nearly half the time. Clear's framework addresses this by breaking habit formation into 4 laws based on the habit loop discovered by researchers at MIT. The 4 laws are pretty simple. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Each law is backed by behavioral science. For example, research showing that when Harvard students were given chocolate closer to them versus food farther away, they ate significantly more chocolates, even when they consciously wanted to eat healthier. Proximity matters more than motivation. Clear also introduces the concept of identity-based habits. Research from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck on mindset theory supports this. When people shift their identity rather than just their actions, behavioral change becomes significantly more sustainable. You don't just run, you become a runner. That identity shift, according to self-perception theory developed by psychologist Daryl Bem, is what makes habits stick. But here's the kicker. Clear reveals that environment design trumps willpower every single time. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people with high self-control aren't actually better at resisting temptation. They use what Clear calls choice architecture to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Book number 2, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Now, before you roll your eyes, let's talk about what the research actually says about visualization and the law of attraction, because it's more nuanced than you think. The idea that thoughts become things through a universal law of attraction. While the metaphysical claims aren't significantly scientifically supported, there is a legitimate psychological research underneath the surface that explains why some people swear by this technique. First, visualization. A meta-analysis published in Psychological Bulletin examined 35 years of research on mental practice and found that visualization improved performance, but not in the magical way the secret suggests. Athletes who mentally rehearse their performance show measurable improvements in neural pathways, essentially training their brains without physical practice. The neuroscientist Dr. Srini Pillai from Harvard Medical School has shown that visualization activates the same brain regions as actual physical practice. When you vividly imagine an action, your brain creates neural patterns similar to actually performing that action. This is why Olympic athletes use visualization as part of their training regime. Research from NYU psychologist Gabriel Oettingen shows that positive visualization alone can actually backfire. First studies found that people who only fantasize about success are less likely to achieve their goals because their brains experience a premature sense of accomplishment. The dopamine hit from visualization can reduce actual motivation. Ottingen's research points to a technique called mental contrasting, visualizing success and then deliberately identifying obstacles. This combination activates problem-solving networks in the brain and increases the likelihood of success by 30 to 40% compared to visualization alone. The circuit also taps into confirmation bias and selective attention. The reticular activating system filters information based on what you focus on. When you set an intention or goal, you're essentially programming your brain's spam filter to notice relevant opportunities. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Speaking of setting intentions and tracking progress, if you want to keep your journaling game on top, I've got something for you. Check out the 5-minute morning journal that actually works. It's completely free. I'll get you on track to writing journals like never before. You'll never get left behind again, and most of all, you'll feel healthier than ever before. Download it now in the link below. Now let's keep going. Book number 3, Get It Done by Ayelet Fishbach. Ayelet Fishbach is a professor at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business, and her research on motivation and goal pursuit has been published in top psychology journals for over 2 decades. Get It Done synthesizes her laboratory findings into practical strategies, and some of them completely contradict popular productivity advice. The research shows that publicizing your goals can actually decrease your chances of achieving them. A study of psychologist Peter Goldwitzer found that when people announce their intentions, they experience a social reality effect. Their brain treats an announcement as practical completion of the goal. They get social recognition without doing the work, which reduces motivation to follow through. Thinking about how little you've accomplished can be more motivating than thinking about how much you've done, but only at the beginning of a goal. Early on, focusing on the gap between where you are and where you want to be increases effort. Once you are past the midpoint, focusing on progress becomes more motivating. This is called the goal gradient effect. Feedback timing matters enormously. Research published in the Journal of Consumer Research by Fishbach and her colleagues found that immediate feedback increases motivation for activities you're already good at, while delayed feedback works better when you are learning something new. Immediate feedback during learning can be discouraging, but delayed feedback gives you time to improve before you see results. Fishbach also dismantles the myth of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Her research shows they are not opposite, they interact. A meta-analysis of 128 studies found that extrinsic rewards can undermine intrinsic motivation, but only when the task was already interesting and the reward was expected. Unexpected rewards or rewards for boring tasks don't kill motivation. The motivation naturally dips in the middle of any goal pursuit. Studies tracking marathon runners, college students, and loyalty program members all show the same pattern. Knowing this allows you to engineer extra support systems during the predictable slump. Book number 4, Thinking in Systems by Donella H. Meadows. Donella Meadows was a pioneering environmental scientist and lead author of The Limits of Growth, one of the most influential environment studies ever published. Thinking in Systems is her masterwork on understanding how complex systems behave, and once you see the world through systems thinking, you can't unsee it. Here's the core insight: most problems we face aren't caused by individual bad actors or single events. They're caused by system structures that produce predictable behaviors. Meadows identifies recurring patterns called system archetypes that appear everywhere from ecology to economics to personal relationships. Take limits of growth as an example. When a system grows exponentially, whether it's a population, a business, or your email inbox, it will eventually hit a constraint. The research shows systems don't politely slow down when they hit limits. They overshoot and collapse. We see this pattern in fisheries depletion, credit bubbles, and even viral infections. Meadows ranked 12 leverage points from least to most effective. Most people focus on the weakest leverage points, changing parameters, adding incentives, or creating regulations. rarely produce lasting changes. The strongest leverage points: changing the goals of the system, changing the paradigm that generates the goals, transcending paradigms altogether. A study published in the Academy of Management journal found that culture change paradigm shift was 6 times more effective than policy change parameter adjustment in transforming organizational performance. Meadows also explains feedback loops, and this is crucial for understanding why some solutions make problems worse. Balancing feedback loops stabilize systems, while reinforcing feedback loops amplify change. The rich get richer phenomenon, that's a reinforcing loop. Climate change tipping points, reinforcing loops. Your daily habits, also feedback loops. Research in systems dynamics has shown that delays in feedback loops are one of the primary causes of systems failure. When there is a gap between action and consequence, and like pollution and climate impact, systems overshoot their sustainable limits before correcting. A study in the journal System Dynamics Review found that adding even small delays to feedback loops increased system instability by 400%. Here is where it gets practical. Meadows provides a checklist for intervening in systems. Before you try to fix something, understand the system's purpose, the feedback loops, find the delays, and look for leverage points. This approach has been applied successfully in public health interventions, corporate restructuring, and environmental policy. Book number 5, Sacred Economics by Charles Eisenstein. This book challenges the fundamental assumptions of modern economics. It backs it up with anthropological research, ecological economics, and historical analysis. Eisenstein's core argument that our current economic system is based on a story of scarcity, separation, and endless growth that's scientifically unsustainable and psychologically damaging. He is not alone in this analysis. Ecological economists like Herman Daly have demonstrated mathematically that infinite growth on a finite planet is impossible, yet GDP growth remains the primary measure of economic success. Here is a startling fact from research. A study in the journal Ecological Economics calculated that if economic growth stopped, the debt-based monetary system would collapse within years. We have built an economy that must grow or die, regardless of ecological or social consequences. Eisenstein explores the concept of negative interest, or demurrage, money that decreases in value over time. This sounds insane until you look at the research. Economist Silvio Gesell proposed this in the early 1900s, and it was actually implemented in the Austrian town Würgl during the Great Depression. In 1 year, unemployment dropped by 25%, tax revenue increased, and infrastructure projects were completed, while surrounding areas remained in depression. The experiment was so successful that Austria's central bank shut it down because it threatened the national currency. Research in behavioral economics supports why this works. Money that loses value over time incentivizes spending rather than hoarding, creating economic velocity. Studying the Journal of Economic Behavior found that currency circulation speed is more important to economic health than total money supply, yet our interest-based system rewards hoarding. Eisenstein also examines the gift economy, supported by anthropological research from Marcel Mauss and David Graeber. Studies of indigenous societies show that gift-based economies create stronger social bonds and more equitable resource distribution than pure market economies. Modern research on pro-social behavior confirms this. A meta-analysis in Psychological Bulletin found that giving activates the same reward centers in the brain as receiving, suggesting we are neurologically wired for gift economies. Negative interest currencies, commons-based resources management, and internalizing externalities, making companies pay the true environmental and social cost of production. Research from the Stockholm Resilience Center shows that when ecosystems are given economic value and protection, both environmental and economic outcomes improve. These 5 books don't just give you tips, they rewire how you think about behavior, reality, motivation, systems, and the economy itself. And if you are serious about applying these insights, you need a system to track your progress and reflect on what you're learning. That's why I'm offering the 5-minute morning journal that works absolutely free. It'll get you on track of writing journals like never before. You'll never feel left behind again, and most of all, you'll feel healthier than ever before. Download it now in the link below. Which of these 5 books intrigued you the most? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you found this valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise and gets to what actually works. I'm Adam Prockstem Smith. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.